all of this is scary.
Right.
Now you are very scared. Or they also give you a call that this number of yours is going to be blocked in next 2 hours. Then you say, why?
Yeah.
Because you see telco is calling you, and then they say, oh, this number was used for this things.
Yeah.
That's why we're blocking it. And then you indulge into it.
Correct.
That act doesn't talk about anything beyond what are your rights as an individual and what are your obligations as a company.
Right.
Nothing else. The 9 principles which were there of privacy, like for example, my data, we're talking about cookie. If you take my data, if I'm browsing, ask my permission that you're taking my data. These are very basics.
Correct.
And when I'm saying in this language, trust me, the law also says the same.
Correct.
The cybersecurity, we say that use of AI and cybersecurity is also very good. We should. But at the same time, there can be an aspect where if some things have been left vulnerable, some malicious factors can enter into it, is where the entire havoc can be created without you realizing it.
Hello, you're watching The Mainstream, formerly known as CIO News. I'm Khushbu Soni, the founder of The Mainstream. Today, we're going to be talking about the future of cybersecurity and technology laws in India, navigating challenges and embracing opportunities. And I'm very excited to have my guest, Khushbu Jain. She needs no introduction, but I'm going to take a few seconds to do that. Khushbu Jain is a leading expert in technology law, data privacy, and cybersecurity. As the managing partner at Ark Legal, she combines her background in criminal law with a sharp focus on digital aid's legal challenges. A thought leader with strong LinkedIn following, Khushbu is also a visiting lecturer at the National Forensic Science University. Shaping the future of legal professionals in India, she is a passionate advocate for laws that balance innovation with robust security in today's fast-evolving tech landscape. Thank you so much, Khushbu, and I think it's always a pleasure to meet you, and I'm so excited that I'm having this dialogue with you today.
Absolutely, likewise, Khushbu. It's always a pleasure meeting you and having a discussion.
Fantastic, and I think I would want to make this as candid and conversational as possible. And I know you come with so much of rich experience. You've dealt with so many cyber crimes and crimes cases in general, and I'm very sure our viewers would love to understand the kind of work that you've been doing at Ark Legal to begin with, and then I would want to start flowing my questions.
Okay, so if I have to talk about Ark Legal, so the firm Ark Legal deals with almost all sides of law. You talk about technology, you talk about privacy, data implementation, and from criminal law to matters in Supreme Court to matters with related to IPR and so on and so forth. But as an individual, I specifically focus on my journey. I started with the Supreme Court. I focus on matters with respect to constitutional law, with respect to criminal aspect of it, and with that being part and parcel of the journey of India, which is the data protection and the data privacy, and with that also being part of implementing a robust privacy for corporates and so on and so forth.
Fantastic. Khushbu, India's digital economy is growing rapidly, right? And as more businesses and individuals move online, there is a lot of threat to everything that's happening on digital. What's your take on that?
Absolutely. See, there is always 2 sides of a coin. And with that, yes, when you talk about digital India or when you talk about businesses moving digital, there's always an aspect of reaching the customers as swiftly as possible. When you talk about society, yes, ease of doing business to ease of recreation to anything and everything for that matter. But it has come to a level where we have education coming to our doorstep. We have banks coming to our doorstep, just a click away. Everything's literally a click away, right? From ordering food to watching movies to doing a banking transaction to paying electricity bill. I'm going as
day-to-day
looks like. So yes, it has transformed the way we are living right now. But with the same comes the aspect that criminals have also understood that this is one of the easy way to commit a crime rather than doing the old school bulgari or stealing or doing things like that. So they've also gone a step ahead and utilizing technology for the benefits of their own. And with that is where the scary parts comes in.
Yeah.
Because the quantum, the kind of impact the technology related crimes can have is much more humongous than possible. And the aspect that internet does bring you and me closer,
Yeah.
does makes things easy, but it creates a lot of stopgates, or creates a maybe a atmosphere for criminals to not get caught. There is that layer of opaqueness in internet which makes it easier, which gives shield to these criminals.
Yeah.
And I think that's where the problem is lying, and that's where I think the whole world is grappling to come up with a solution in that regard, so that in timely manner these criminals are being caught and it can curtail the kind of crimes that are happening.
Absolutely. There, as you said, there's everybody's now on digital, right? That everybody has their digital persona online. Organizations as well. I think they understand the importance of moving their business to digital. There are a lot of technologies, emerging technologies to support the same, right from AI to IoT to blockchain, right? With all the innovations coming in, there is always a challenge of safety, right? So, what are some of the key challenges India faces in striking the right balance?
See, when you talk about AI, when you talk about utilizing all these new emerging things happening around us, you cannot keep yourself away from it.
Yeah.
As a business.
Yeah.
You have to involve it. There are amazing things that can happen utilizing AI in every industry for that matter, right? From healthcare to education to marketing to legal to your industry, all
Yeah.
industry, there is huge potential utilizing it. It has an aspect where it can literally transform in a manner that we can't even imagine.
Right.
And the tomorrow which we think, which is 10 years later, is literally tomorrow.
Correct.
Because of this technology. But with that comes also an aspect that you have to make sure that there are certain challenges which have to be kept in mind as a business.
Yeah.
Number one, everything is with respect to data. And when I say data, data is literally, there is nothing that can move without data.
Yeah.
And we have privacy laws in place. We have ownership, when we have IPR laws,
Yeah.
the intellectual property rights
Yeah.
over things. These are the things one has to keep in mind.
Right.
Then comes the aspect, there is always a potential of misuse of technology. And when you talk about such a potential of benefits that can come from AI,
Yeah.
the same level of mishap can happen utilizing that technology if it has not been taken care of. I'll give you some examples. Number one, biasness.
Yeah.
The data biasness, if data is put in which is biased, it can have an impact which we can't imagine.
Right.
Today we are not so reliant. Tomorrow, the more we get reliant, and if it's biased, it will have a potential impact or negative impact which we can't imagine.
Yeah.
So number one is bias, and bias is also very specific to country, to area.
Yeah.
The things which we have it as an Indian aspect, which is very different from, let's say, American aspect to it.
Correct.
So one is bias. The second that comes is the aspect of copyright issue, the
Yeah.
ownership, the data which you're taking from people, whether I have that data, whether I have ownership to that data, or you have taken that data without my permission. You will indulge into an aspect of getting into a legal battle tomorrow. That's
Right.
number two. Number three that comes is whose data sets are you relying on? Do those people have, because a lot of PII information would be there, right?
Yeah.
Personally identifiable
Correct.
information. With that PII information, do you have explicit consent?
Right.
Because this word explicit consent is something which is there in GDPR, which is there in CCPA, which is there in Australian laws, which is there in Indian law, that is the Digital Data Personal Data Protection Act of India. The consent is something which is paramount when it comes to an individual's data.
Right.
Now, if that data has been utilized and you have not taken the consent to utilize data for that purpose, is another issue that you will land up in a legal battle tomorrow. Not in one, but maybe as many jurisdictions where you have entered into.
Absolutely.
So that's another issue. The fourth that comes in is the security.
Correct.
The cybersecurity, we say that use of AI and cybersecurity is also very good. We should. But at the same time, there can be an aspect where if some things have been left vulnerable, some malicious factors can enter into it,
Yeah.
is where the entire havoc can be created without you realizing it.
Right.
And the fifth, if you're not building that AI at your own and creating that data set on your own, you have multiple actors who are providing you with those things, or you're building on another somebody else's platform or somebody else. In that entire chain, if there is no transparency, tomorrow if some things happen, who do we blame,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Let's, with technology, crimes will be happening.
Correct.
Now, who do I put the blame to? The law says you cannot put a blame to a software. There has to be a legal person. And a
Oh.
definition of a legal person is it can be a company, or it has to be a individual or a partnership who's legally recognized as a person. Now, with this entire chain, there has to be that understanding who has done what. If you don't bring in that right now, you will end up, because if you are the last one, you are the face, you will be the one who will be liable for things, maybe because of knowingly or unknowingly, but you have been the one who's been using it.
Correct.
And we have seen some cases which have been happening in the West, when it comes to even aspect of medical side of it, that some things have happened, and who do we blame about it? Is the software to blame? There have been judgments on that part. The same system with whether software to be blamed comes to AI, and there, if there is no transparency and understanding that which has built where and coming to a contract part of it, is where you'll have a problem. So I think there's no oof to it. It's just whenever you use something, you need to understand the contours of it. Without that, you cannot. I say this everywhere. Most layman example of all is, if you drive, you need to understand basic rules.
Correct.
Right? Which side to drive, what are the rules of roundabout, stopping. If you don't know those basic things, how then you accident happens, you're like, oh shit, one should not drive.
Right.
No, there have been benefits to it.
Correct.
Right? Understand. Very thumb rule of life. Do something, understand the legal contours of it, understand how the technology can transform. It can impact you positively and negatively, for that matter. Understand the negative aspect, then know that what are the ways you can curtail that, and then work on it.
Right.
You cannot deny that I will not use AI.
Yeah, you got to
No.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's not an option.
Absolutely.
If today you'll be behind, if tomorrow you will.
Right. True. And in fact, I think I have so much to ask just from the responses that you gave. But to begin with, I also read somewhere, of course, the stats say that cybercrime in India, I think just in the 2024, in the beginning of the 2020, for the first quarter, we saw about 500 million crimes, $500 million crimes that took place. And it is expected by 2036, India will face about $1 trillion worth of crime that will happen, right? And it just goes on. So this is both businesses and individuals, right? I, as a human, or I think even people who don't understand technology, when we talk about data privacy, when we talk about, what is my presence online, I feel that, the very fact that when I go online, I open any browser, right? It gives me cookies and I just say accept all, right? How do we create awareness in humans across, just to tell them what are their basics rights in terms of data going online? What are the measures that they should take? Would there be, or should there be such guidelines that, should be taught now?
See, it's a very important or a crucial issue that you have raised. Ideally, I would say you had a right to privacy with you.
Yeah.
Right? That means I have a right to privacy. But companies never followed that. Companies never understood what do you mean by right to privacy. That's where we have DPDP Act. Now, if you look into DPDP Act, that act doesn't talk about anything beyond what are your rights as an individual and what are your obligations as a company.
Right.
Nothing else. The 9 principles which were there of privacy, like for example, my data, we're talking about cookie. If you take my data, if I'm browsing, ask my permission that you're taking my data. Thumb rule. Tell me for what purposes are you taking my data. How are you going to utilize it, and which all entities you're going to share that data with. These are very basics.
Correct.
And when I'm saying in this language, trust me, the law also says the same.
Okay.
Right to consent, free, unambiguous. That means you be very clear and candid about, you don't force me that tomorrow when you are providing me services A, which doesn't require my camera access, which doesn't require access to my mic, and if I deny you that access, you don't give me the services. No.
Right.
That's a forceful one. Right? Let's say tomorrow, but I want to use, let's say, Face app. And I don't give access to camera, I can't.
Right.
There it's absolutely something which has an access to the services that I'm giving. If that requires that data, is where you will have to. But beyond that, you cannot deny those services to me. You know that datagiri which used to go on
Yeah,
internet in a
yeah.
subtle manner,
Yeah.
which we never understood, used to happen, right? They don't
Correct.
allow you if you don't give them permissions. So
Correct.
today is the day where we have laws in place, because you and me understanding also doesn't make any difference, because
Yeah.
we are at a situation where we are taking.
Correct.
And as a company would not understand, because we don't know what exactly are the things or not things. That's where the law is, which tells you that these are your rights: right to explicit consent, right to recall the consent, that today I've given you the consent, tomorrow I don't want to continue, my mind has changed. Then I want to amend the data which is there. Then I want to nominate somebody for that matter. Then I want to erase the data which you have it, to my right to erasure. These are the rights which are now mandatory being given in the DPDP Act.
Right.
Now, companies need to follow with this. And none of the entities who do not follow, who do not give you option of right to consent, who do not give you option of right to nominate, who do not give you option of erasure, option to access the data. You were saying that, I don't know where my data is.
Yeah.
Nobody can tell you today.
Yeah.
That's where you will need to have an option of right to access your data. So
Okay.
tomorrow, any entity, I can say that, Khushbu, I want mainstream to tell me I need to access my data which mainstream has it with me.
Correct.
You should be in a situation to provide me first, number one, that option that I can request for access, and then a response to it within a legitimate time, which rules will define. So these things are already there in the law. Now you don't provide me with these things, is where up to 50 crore of a penalty for each non-compliance is what you are looking at.
Got it.
So gone are those days where
Yeah.
we talk about basics which ideally
Yeah.
a company should have done it, or a individual should expect. No. Now it is a law which makes sure that you understand what are your rights, number one, and companies understand what are their obligations, and that entire ecosystem is being governed by law.
Right. How does this benefit? I mean, of course, it helps individuals, right, to see where their data is online and take any right action if there was a challenge. For businesses, how does it impact?
See, I'll tell you, there are again two sides when it comes to impact, right? Positive and negative.
Yeah.
You understand, any kind of data breach that happens, reputation loss is much bigger than anything.
Yeah.
Companies invest a lot of money to build their name and the reputation.
True.
A lot. True. Like there is no number put to it.
Yeah.
When your data breaches like that, when you utilize data for the purposes which are for motives which are not being known to people, is where the problem comes. Is, let's say you're a company A, where I have shared my data. You have shared with data company B.
Yeah.
That B is the one who's not keeping the security. Despite you keeping best of the security measures, that company B gets breached. Why would you not share or transfer the liability?
Correct.
So the act makes sure that with that, when I say that you will tell me that your data, my data is with you, and which all 20 more entities,
Yeah.
is bringing in that your liability is now a shared liability, and then you completely transfer the liability, provided you have made sure that they also rely with it.
Correct.
Number one,
Right.
that that
Yeah.
opaqueness is little more less opaque.
Yeah.
There is more transparency, which will increase accountability on everybody's part.
Right.
Because you have not done anything wrong.
Yeah.
All you have done is share the data with, let's say, third-party vendor where it is necessary for you.
Correct.
Somebody who's taking care of, let's say, technology of yours.
Right.
Without sharing, you can't. Any kind of third-party vendor for that matter. So that's where that will help you. Reputation loss is where it will help you. Number three, as a company, you would also want to be for people. You want to increase your user base.
Yeah.
And let's not forget one aspect of it. Each and every crime that happens today, the cyber crime, conversion of that crime being completed is really dependent on how much data that criminal has of yours. To make you believe in something, I need more data. To make you trust me that I am, they pose you as a bank manager. Sometimes they pose you, I'm calling from, let's say, XYZ police station.
Yeah.
All kinds of crimes.
Yeah.
More data with them, easier for them to do things.
Correct.
As in basic ethics also as a company, if you are building your business on somebody's data, very basic you can do is take care of the security of that person, right? So if you talk about all those things, companies have benefits from all these things. When it comes to reputational loss, when it comes to liability to be transferred,
Right.
where it is no fault of yours,
Yeah.
and also when it comes to basic giving away to somebody whose data you're building your business on.
Right.
So all of that matter. And with other side, yes, a little bit of cost to implement when it comes to privacy. But if you'll see in the long run, this cost is your investment rather than a cost. Because tomorrow, trust me, everybody wants to be with the company which takes care of your privacy
Correct.
and which takes care of security of your data.
Yeah.
So literally, this is a future investment that you're doing.
Absolutely. And I think that should be, from a business standpoint, you should actually position it as an experience and as an add-on, to whatever you're selling to any user, is the privacy that we are providing to whatever information.
Khushbu, all of us have read one line, privacy matters, and we know who says that.
Yeah.
And the numbers, the kind of user base or the customers increasing is on just those two words, privacy matters.
True.
It is important.
It is important. Absolutely. So tell me something, when we talk about DPDP Act, how long do we see, like, for it to come to action?
See, it was in 2023 is where it became an act, enforceable act.
Yeah.
But if you look into the act, it does tell you what are the rights and what are the obligations, and in case of what reasonable security standards have to be kept in place. And in the absence of falling short on any of them, there would be a penalty which can be up to 50 crores, up to 100, up to 150, and up to 200 crores, looking into how it would be. But when it comes to implementation part, which we are talking about, is where we need a board which need to be constituted, which will look into these things. Number one, a lot of places when you see, there are aspects which say to be notified. So the rules are yet to be come in place, which as per ministry is as soon as possible.
Yeah.
So the date that come, as in maybe last week there was a question in Rajya Sabha or a Lok Sabha for that matter, where they asked the same question which you're asking me, exact question, that when will it be implemented, and the answer that came from the ministry is at the earliest. Is what we are looking into, the timeline part of it. Right. Now, once that comes in, the rules will tell you practically how to navigate when it comes to implementation of this law, and how much time are they going to give you when it comes to industry specific or some specific part of it, or if not, we are still to wait for the rules to practically for me to comment on. But it will at least tell you the guiding force that tomorrow I request for my data to be deleted, right to erasure. How much time as a data fiduciary you have to implement that request of mine. And which is the board which is constituted to look into all these things. So that clarity will come in with the rules. So the day rules come in and the board is formulated is where we start looking into it. And they might increase the timeline for certain sections in that matter or not. That also has to be looked into. Right. But I would say, as a company, your work when it comes to DPDP should start as on yesterday.
Okay.
Why? See, as companies, we love taking data, as much data as possible. Tomorrow, a mid-sized company also, if I say that my data with you, can you tell me just one thing which is my right to access? Can you give that access to me? That what all data of mine is with you, for what purposes, and which all entity has it? For you to understand my data, it would be impossible. So that data mapping is, or data discovery for that matter, that structure is none of the companies is having right now. Till the time you don't have it, tomorrow my erasure request, my other request, it would be impossible for you to execute or to have for that matter, a consent policy, privacy policy and the consent. How do you make a consent without letting the person know that how much data you are taking and will use it for what purposes? For that, you need to know that what data are you taking and sharing it with which all entities and what. So that understanding of locating where all places you have data of each person is a humongous job.
Right.
And trust me, it will take right from 1 month, depending on how data rich you are, to 2 years for you to have that structure in place. So for you to start working, please start right away.
Absolutely. When we talk about data, right, when we talk about privacy, PI data, which is your personal information. And I, as an individual, when I'm there on social media, there is beyond my personal information, there is my behavior analytics, my preferences, right? All that is data. Is that what comes along?
See, the law has been silent when it comes to cookies.
Right.
But we see how GDPR talks about cookies, and that's what I'm waiting for the rules to bring in more clarity. But yes, any data
Yeah.
which can personally identify you
Yeah.
is what is covered under the DPDP Act.
Okay.
Now, if I have to break it a little more on your question, if I have your behavioral analytics,
Yeah.
till the time I have that people in Bombay usually uh, buy processed food
Yeah.
and buy more on these things. And their day of shoppings are usually this. They usually do flight bookings midnight.
Right.
Is okay
Yeah.
as
Got
a information.
As a group.
But
Yeah.
the moment I say that Khushbu does these things,
Yeah.
like shopping these things,
Yeah.
her preferences are these.
Yeah.
She spends 80% of her money on traveling and eating places,
Right.
exploring places. Then it's personally identifiable to you.
And that's what
Until the time I don't
Yeah.
take that permission from you,
Yeah.
I can't take that.
Absolutely. And isn't that hyper-personalization?
Absolutely.
Right.
And that's more dangerous. Now imagine this data of yours
Yeah.
is with criminal.
Right.
One is the basic that if you're taking that data of mine, take a consent. See, basic thumb rule, I've come to your office today. Can I just pick this plant of yours and take it? No, right?
Yeah.
I have to ask you that can I take it?
Yeah, yeah.
Can I tell you that I'm taking it for 2 days? Or can I say that I'm taking it for these purposes?
Yeah.
Once it is done, you have an option. You can ask back and I'll return it.
Right.
But can I practically just pick it up?
Right.
Or I feel that this little is looking little offbeat. Maybe I'll go and I'll give you personalized better one.
Right.
But can I do it without your permission?
Right.
No, right? Now just transfer that to online.
Yeah.
How can you do? So that's a basic. But the other layer which I was talking to you about was, let's say even if I give you permission, the second aspect of it with security. Now imagine that data lands with some criminal.
Right.
All I do is, as a criminal, give you a call, ki, hey Khushbu,
Yeah.
and gives you little more how chilling effect that would be.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Or let's say I tell you that there is an offer on flights to Austria,
True. Yeah.
and which you practically are planning to go to Austria.
Yeah.
You'll be so gullible.
Correct.
Or there would be more other things. Let's say I have more of details when it comes to your health or your family's health.
Right.
And I tell you something.
Yeah.
Or there are things which you want to hide. There are so many things. Privacy is so important, and it's on you of what you consider to be public or not to be public, or which to be utilized or not to be utilized. It's really a scary thought.
Correct.
They used to say that what if somebody gets into your bedroom without knowing? This is literally getting into your private space.
Yeah.
A private space where you don't even want to share it with, let's say, your spouse, for that matter.
Yeah.
It's as personal as an individual.
Right.
And that's where they would enter beyond where your family can enter.
Correct.
Without you knowing about it, without they asking permission from you, and utilizing it for purposes you're not aware about. It's very scary.
Right.
So that's where the law is all about, and to implement that law in a strict manner so that companies understand that how much is too much and where to stop.
Absolutely. Absolutely. There's a lot of debate on the tech companies, and especially our very famous Meta, Mr. Mark Zuckerberg, to remove the content which is up there on it. How do you see this as a challenge? I mean, we spoke about everything right from privacy, but what about the data which is already there? Like, how is there a way to, or it is out there?
See, there's a beautiful law which is the California Personal Data Protection Act, the CCPA.
Yeah.
That talks about that children data, which is there till the time of 18 years age. All social media platforms, all intermediaries, all internet providers, mandatory, have to remove it the moment they attain the age of 18 and they request that I want to delete my data. They're doing it. What's the difficulty in doing it for us?
Right.
There's no difficulty. See, all these tech companies understand who's watching what, who's doing what, which content is giving you attraction, which content is obscene, which content is not obscene, which content is offensive, which is not, which content is potential of viral, which is false, which is not.
Right.
Trust me, they do understand to a level, and if they have to put in full force, they do understand everything.
Right.
So to implement something is not a difficulty in doing so.
Yeah.
See, I do say privacy is a myth. One digital copy always lies if you put something on internet. But as much as possible that it doesn't personally identify me and you, it can be done.
Right.
for social media platforms and other places where we have put in across that I see tomorrow, Khushbu, I don't want to relate what I'm doing at the age of 21. I'm a different person when I'm, let's say, 35.
Yeah.
And I can't relate to it. There
Yeah.
have been incidents where college professors have been put to ridicule for something they have done it in their young time. Because that's out there, and there are a lot of things which I personally do. I would have done it as an age, and I am now a different personality, and I don't want to relate.
Right.
People change,
Right.
and it's up to me whether I could be related to that or not. So why can't I have a right to ownership to a level that I can erase that data of mine? Till the time you don't have, there is nothing called as right to privacy. It's incomplete privacy.
Right.
That's number one. The number two aspect which you're talking about it, how difficult it would be for companies. It would be difficult. That's where I say that you need to understand. Now, the biggest challenge after implementation of DPDP will come up is with respect to consent. That what do you do with the data which is already lying?
Yeah.
That's the biggest challenge.
Yeah.
And we will have to come through with some mechanism and some ways to do it. There are ways one can do it where companies can help you out in navigating that space. And that would be one of the biggest challenge that would come tomorrow for people who you can't reach again.
Right.
For people who are dead, that data are available with you. What do we do with that?
Right.
For people who now you have the data, but there is no way to take their consent again. What do we do with that?
Right.
So for data which is already lying, what do we do? And if we say that, okay, it is only from the date of implementation, then practically everything is already consented for.
Correct. It's true. True.
Yeah, so I think that's the space to be discovered. I'm still waiting for the rules to come in as to what exactly do they put in over here, which will create problem. That's why I'm saying at least make sure that you have understanding of what data as an institute you have it, lying at what many places, for what purposes, have that understanding clarity,
Right.
which all departments share with which third party vendors.
Right.
Make that understanding, and are there any proper contract with that regard?
Yeah.
After you have all these things, is where you can do it. Is there are options of encrypting the data, there are options of anonymizing the data, pseudomization. There are a lot of techniques that can be implemented for data which is already there, and which you want to still continue, but you can't take the consent. There are mechanisms to do it. But whole thing can be done only when you know clearly where you stand when it comes to how much data for what purpose.
Absolutely. When they say data is the new oil, this has been a term all the decade, right? Data is the new oil. And I think if we individuals and organizations, if we look at data as the new oil, it's an oil. If there is a misfire,
yes, I think that's an amazing line to close with. To leave people scared about it, and for organizations to understand that what exactly are you dealing with. And if you're dealing with something so inflammable, at least make sure that you have enough and more of consent, security measures in place, and also an aspect of how to mitigate if some risk exposure is there.
Right.
That mitigation risk is something very crucial, and I think all CISOs understand that very well, dealing with cybersecurity over there. That all these three things you have to be very much equipped with.
Right.
Because see, cyber attacks are here to stay. You cannot deny. Each and every company is vulnerable. It's just when.
Yeah.
But then after that when is where how much you can mitigate that exposure, that risk, how much you can contain it, and how swift you are in coming back is what matters. And at that time, see, one more beautiful thing which India's law talk about. The DPDP Act doesn't say what security measures you have to keep in place. That means as an independent company, you do whatever. Don't keep the security. But tomorrow if something happens, the criteria for how much quantum of punishment you will be imposed with will depend on how swift you were in mitigating it, how swift you were in telling the people who are affected that this, and what you have done for that. Then what security measures you kept in place. Because see, I have done everything possible. After that, something happened which is no fault of mine, now what?
Right.
So there can be zero penalty or very minimal penalty. So that's where what you should be looking out for, rather than looking in another manner that what do you mean by reasonable security? That's a freedom that an act gives you, the Indian Act, the DPDP Act gives you as a company to have what you want to do it. It doesn't even define data in a sensitive data, critical data, personal data. It says anything which is personally identifiable is a data. Now, as a company, you take care of it, that this is super sensitive for me. Now I need more security. The third party vendor who's dealing with my absolute sensitive data, I need to understand whether he's capable of keeping that security. I need to bring in more clauses in those contracts where he keeps uptight security. And in the event, there is something called as insurance dedicated to that specific part of it. There are a lot of things which you can do it, but as an it's an open free hand given to the companies to have implement their own way of doing things.
Got it.
So act has nothing to do with security, but it's absolutely to do with security.
Absolutely, yeah. If you can help us understand digital arrest, this is something that, we've been hearing everywhere in India and globally as well.
If I'll be very candid with you, the first time I heard about digital arrest, I'm like, what rubbish.
Yeah.
It can't happen.
Yeah.
Second time I heard, I was like, must be somebody who doesn't understand anything and just got fooled by some foolishness.
Yeah.
When I started hearing by it of 5 people in a day coming to you, and it's nothing to do with whether you are learned or not, whether you are educated, you are I have people from security, I have people who are lawyers, people from media, I have got people who are 21-year-old to 79-year-old, nothing to do with being male or female or which place are you from, nothing. It's gender neutral, age neutral, literacy, whether you're literate or not literate, everything, nothing to do with that. People with security, I'm saying, people who are lawyers, people who are in media are being stuck to it. Now, what it is, in a nutshell, you get a call. Again, I was talking about data to you.
Yeah.
When I say data, let's say let's narrate only a story.
Yeah.
I give you a call and I say, Khushbu, we have received there can be 3 scenarios. One, I say that we have received a packet of yours, and in that packet we have found something which is illegal.
Yeah.
Now you have been put to, we have filed an FIR against you and you will be arrested. Number 1 scenario. Number 2 scenario, I give you a call and I say that this is your WhatsApp number. This number, WhatsApp, has been utilized for extortion of money or for sending child pornographic content, or utilized for making an extortion call.
Yeah.
Or some more scenarios. Or let's say I give you another call and I say, this is you, yes. आपका जो bank account number है, which is XYZ, is been utilized, and there was a FIR which was filed a month back. In that investigation, your account has come up where XYZ amount has been used, and that's part of money laundering. So we have put your name also into an FIR now. Or number 4, that you get a call that your son, your daughter, your sister, your father, your mother, somebody is caught with some illegal substance or doing something. Usually they utilize scenario where they say that aapka beta ya aapki daughter has been found with some drugs.
Yeah.
And now we are putting them. All of this is scary.
Right.
Now you are very scared. One time you want to keep the phone. Or they also give you a call that this number of yours is going to be blocked in next 2 hours. Then you say, why?
Yeah.
Because you see telco is calling you. And then they say, oh, this number was used for this things.
Yeah.
That's why we're blocking it. And then you indulge into it.
Correct.
Now with that, they transfer that, okay, we are going to transfer it to the relevant place. Now relevant place can be ED, EOW, SFIO, for that matter, some court, or it can be revenue department, it can be finance department, and so on and so forth. Or it can be some ministry. Now there they say that they talk very authoritatively with you. You have done this has been found. You say, no, I have not done any of those things. Then you say, no, aap wahin pe rahe. This is your address, sending a team to arrest. You'll be more scared. Then you're like, how do I believe? Then it's like, aapka ye WhatsApp number hai, main aapko abhi document bhejta hu. Now you get a copy of an FIR where your bank account is mentioned, where those transaction details are there in the flowchart or let's say a table. You're scared, right? It's an FIR against XYZ. Your name is there. Your bank account is there. It's your bank account. You know your bank account.
Yeah.
Number 1 scenario. Number 2, when they send you pictures where the parcel, the name and address and everything of yours is there. Your Aadhaar number is also there. And then you say, okay, this is my, and they send you a picture of the parcel in a manner that it is a parcel. When somebody clicks a picture.
Correct.
To make you believe.
Correct.
This is your address. Then the number 3 scenario where they send you, they use AI and they send your daughter's picture or your son's picture that they're here.
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So much information. Now, number four scenario, which I was telling you about with respect to using your phone number for XYZ, they give you a phone number and you say you have made a call, WhatsApp, and this has happened. And ये आपका picture है जो WhatsApp पे लगा हुआ था, that's your picture which was there.
Right.
Now, in all these scenarios, you're like very scared.
Yeah.
You're like, oh shit, I've not done this. I'm stuck. Then they tell you, we are sending you, this is your address, we are sending whole team to arrest you. So, and they talk very authoritatively. They send you more documents as to coming from revenue department, coming from that department, coming from this department, you're scared.
Yeah.
Then they start with, okay, now what? And as individual, we want to settle the matter, right?
Correct.
We don't want to be
Correct.
Ridiculed.
Yeah.
Now it's where I'm taking little extra time.
Yeah,
but
no, makes sense, yeah.
then there comes the next layer. The next layer that comes is where you say that, can I do something? So when they say money laundering, they say, okay, let's check. Provide your all accounts. You give the account number. Then they say, okay, do us one thing, give us your PAN card number. Then they say, okay, it's with respect to 49 lakh rupees. Transfer 49 lakh rupees to us. People have transferred. They say, we're going to check whether this money is the one which is the money laundered money. Then the second one, they say that you transfer 49, we will stall the arrest. But you be possible with us online and we will investigate who has done this with you.
Yeah.
But I can only do it when I keep this 49 in there. Right?
Right.
I'm using, they scare you.
And
imagine the first scenario, is it a physical note that they're going to check whether this is money laundered? How rubbish or foolish one can be. But they so much capture you with that data and they make you believe that then your normal, prudent human mind stops working.
True.
It's literally a gameplay, psychology, utilizing data, utilizing tactics as much as possible, scaring you off. And the moment that scares hits you, whatever profession, how smart you are, everything goes to a drain.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. I used to be so amazed. And this continues. There have been incidents where people have been 2 hours to 41 days digitally arrested. And there is no term as digital arrested. You don't have provision to arrest anybody digitally in India. Or anywhere for that matter. It's a term coined to make people understand. But our authorities do not have the power to do so. Imagine how scary. And they're still continuing to do so. Despite Prime Minister giving a statement in his Man Ki Baat that, this is happening, be scared. So many people talking about it, writing about it. I still get calls. I still continuously get calls. So imagine if I'm getting 10 calls in a week, how many people would be there around getting such things, not speaking about it. And they're so scared after that, they don't want to talk to people about it.
Correct.
And when I say, let's file a complaint, they don't want to talk to police because they have been with police for 3 days. They're so scared to go to police after that. So yeah, it's a scary world.
And I think that's when the movie Control, I don't want to promote it, but I genuinely feel they've really put that out in the movie so well, which showcases the whole digital arrest, how AI works in this entire scenario, right? And how someone is in the situation, tries to come out of it,
but grappling. And
for years, tries to, settle down with normal life, comes out of it, loses everything, comes out of it, and then after a few years, again gets back onto it. So it's because we are humans, we want to be there on digital, there's a FOMO, and this loop is never ending, right? So, I mean, yeah, it's a must-watch movie. All right. I think during the COVID-19 and post the pandemic era, right? We've seen the cybercrime surge. Do you think there's a need of online courts now?
Courts?
Yeah.
We have it.
Yeah? Okay.
Okay. So the new BNS and BNSS and BNA, the new 3 laws which have come up from 1st of July, do have not online courts, but see, in pandemic, we started having online hearing. Provided we have proper links and proper matters that come in, and as lawyers only we are given those links to join in, and the clients who are there party to that matter are to join in. And we are doing that since pandemic, that it can't stop. But this new 3 laws have made it more adaptive to technology to an extent that if you're a woman and there are matters which are sensitive, which are like rape or harassment
Yeah.
or things like that, you can record your statement online. And anybody who's around within those 48 hours, 42 hours will come and take your signature on that recorded statement of yours.
Right.
Number two, they might come to your place in the presence of women, this
Yeah.
thing, and take your statement. With that, see, a lot of people don't want to go to courts or don't want to be uh, uh, you don't want to be part of the matter ki nahi yaar bahut din lag jayenge, we don't want to be doing it. You don't want to be a witness in a matter because you're scared ki yaar for nothing I have to keep on going to the courts.
Correct.
So courts are trying to understand that, okay, let there be a use of technology. You can record your statement online, you can record, cross witness can be done online. If you're a witness, all these cross examination and recording of witnesses can be done. A recording of statement of the party can be done online. And we are doing, there are options where there are hybrid courts where you can opt for online and offline both. Judges are sitting in the courtroom, but if you want to go for hybrid, you can request for an hybrid part of it and you can continue. But more of this utilization has to happen. This transformation is there in the law now. Transformation has to come in reality, and for that we need to equip our courts in a manner that it has to. It's a job that has to be done, so that somebody who's sitting, let's say, in a very remote area to travel, to come to the court and then come back, take holiday, or his work or his family life is hampered, and number of hearings go so long. Let's say you go and the other side is not able to make it and say, give us another date.
Right.
It's a waste for you to go.
Yeah.
So those 60 days, 100 dates which come to the court can be reduced.
Right.
So when it comes to ease, justice at your doorstep is what we talk about, right? That's what they're going to bring in, and we have to wait for a little more time for it to come to a level that all the courts, right from tehsil level to everywhere, are equipped in a manner that all this technology utilization can be done, so that there is a proper way to do it. To an extent that, let's say, if I am in a jurisdiction A, I'm in Madhya Pradesh, and my matter is in Maharashtra, and I'm being called to record my statement, can I go in a court in Madhya Pradesh and record my statement, which can be transformed to Maharashtra? These are the things which I think we are seeing for the near future to happen.
Right.
So we are making changes. There are changes that are coming in when it comes to Supreme Court also coming in with a lot of transformation. Justice Chandrachud gave a lot of statements of how to bring in technology in the courts to make it easier to do things, and those things are happening. But yes, with that technology, I think again they are being very thoughtful and going step by step only, so that security is maintained to a level where it should be.
Correct.
It can't be misused.
Correct.
So yes, that is happening.
Fantastic. Khushbu, you in the background of criminal law, right? You've also ventured into technology and cybersecurity. How do you see the role of legal professionals evolving in the field of tech law?
See, now, as I said, you cannot remove technology from anything when it comes to your lifestyle. You cannot remove technology when it comes to businesses. You cannot remove technology when it comes to legal. How so? Pick up as traditional as a crime, that's part and parcel of technology, right? If you're utilizing technology around you, the crimes, the events happening are also in a way part and parcel of it.
Right.
Electronic evidences around. When you talk about crime scene, we pick up CCTV cameras, any other recordings, any emails that have happened, any other proximity. We talk about corporate matters, a contract which has not been fulfilled. We see emails exchanged. There is nothing that is not being touched by technology. I'm talking about as traditional as it.
True.
So you cannot remove technology, but I'm saying that as lawyers, even if you're doing traditional matters, you have to be aware about how it is and what it is.
Right.
For everybody and anybody for that matter. Now, the way things are transforming, we are literally in an age of technology. You talk about AI, you talk about whatever things. If you're not equipped, it's difficult for you to keep up with it.
Correct.
So the legal industry is also transforming in a manner that we are adopting technology in everyday court life. At the same time, the way evidences are being transformed, that admissibility of electronic evidence and the kind of things that have been coming around. And with that, utilizing of AI, even when it comes to legal industry. So knowing technology is something which is, I think, crucial for each and every one in legal profession. People, if you see, 6 years before, nobody could say that I'm a data privacy lawyer. Today, there are
Yeah.
enough and more of stream of data privacy lawyers. We never thought about DPOs for that matter, right?
Yes,
The industry
yes,
grows.
it
So the new
grows.
industry coming in, the legal is also affected in the same manner. And I think that's where we see it, that there is a huge transformation happening in each industry when it comes to utilization, and what also when it comes to impact in legal system as well, for that matter.
Right.
Utilizing it, and at the same time traditional crimes also utilizing of technology, and at the same time new streams coming in legal as well, that you're a technology specific lawyer or you're a data privacy lawyer for that matter. That's a new in industry, in a legal profession as well.
Fantastic. I think this has been a wonderful conversation, Khushbu. I personally have got so many insights, and I'm sure viewers are going to get a lot of insights, because I live with a question mark of what's really happening in the cyberspace, right? Thank you for enlightening us with all of these information. Any last piece of advice that you would like to give to both businesses and individuals who is day to day on digital?
See, when it comes to businesses, think of what ideally you should have done it and do it. Don't wait for anything to come in. When it comes to implementation of basic laws, trust me, it's going to help you tomorrow. More transparency, more better for you. When it comes to AI, when it comes to utilizing of any softwares, or when it comes to dealing with any third-party vendor, everywhere more transparent you are, more accountability that will bring in, and which will make it more easy for you when it comes to trust of customers, when it comes to reputation, and when it comes to getting rid of liability that would come tomorrow,
Right.
imposition of any penalty that would come tomorrow. So I think these are the things every company need to have that thing in place. If you're starting new, easy for you to implement. If you're already, then start implementing it. That's for the businesses.
Right.
For the individuals, right from cybercrime happening to privacy. One thing to keep in mind, anything on internet which is too good to be true is not true.
Yeah.
Don't get into that, there are three things that जो लालच भय और चीज होती है. So the greed, the fear, anything which is coming which is too good. Don't get greedy. Anything which scares you too much, think twice, pause, take a step back, confirm. When you say trust but verify.
Yeah.
Literally trust, but without verifying, do not do anything on internet. We are living in the age of AI, where voice can be changed, can be copied, where deep fakes can be made, where documents can be created, where anything and everything is possible. So your naked eye, do not trust on it till the time you do not verify with the authentic source. Relying on social media is what all of us do, including myself. But if it's gonna impact in your decisions, if it's gonna make you give money or do something, in that scenario, go to the authentic source and confirm. Without that, do not do. And keep yourself updated. When I say updated, it can't be that you read once and you're done. A book you have read on cyber or privacy, or for that matter security, and you're done. No, criminals are updating themselves. You need to update continuously. Keep reading new things which are happening, new modus operandi which are coming in, so that you're aware of all these things to keep in mind. And prevention is always better than cure, so keep yourself aware about it. Few things to keep in mind: 1930 toll free number. Any money gone when it comes to cyber related issues, this is the number you should call. That's a government of India's helpline number, where money can be blocked, so that whatever money of yours is gone, in a manner, time is an essence, timely manner, if you complain at 1930, freeze your money, you can get your money back. Fighting a crime case is a separate issue, but at least your money will be secure. Cybercrime.gov.in is another number, another portal, which is of Ministry of Home Affairs. Cybercrime.gov.in. Go and complain over there if any issue has come up with cyber related issues that act as a evidence for you. Okay. Tomorrow, let's say your WhatsApp is blocked. You cannot access your WhatsApp for 5 hours, and then it starts working. You're like, I don't know, something happened. There can be an aspect, somebody hacked it, utilized your number for doing something which is not legal, and tomorrow something comes up, you would not be in a situation to tell or explain. That burden of proof lies on you. Please, any anomaly that happens, record at cybercrime.gov.in, keep that. It's a permanent record of yours. Or any big thing that happens. I'm saying that that's inevitable. It cannot be always resulting into losing of money. Yeah. Any incident that happens, which is not legal, which is not normal, just go and complain about it, so that even the people who are fighting for it, the government who's fighting for it, the ecosystem created, the cyber commandos, they are also aware about it and they also start working on it. There is a lot happening from the government end. Be little aware and vigilant about it, and help them in combating this entire cybercrime space.
Great. Thank you so much for sharing this with us and for all our viewers. Thank you once again, Khushbu.